Hey everyone, welcome into this episode on the podcast. On this episode, I have a chat with Amadu. He is a great friend of mine and someone that I really find just so interesting in how he lives his life and the way that his attitude on life. And I say this in the podcast, but you meet people or you see people online that talk about joy and gratitude and empowering people, and it's all kind of for show and it's the right thing to say right now, but Amadu lives it. He's living gratitude, not just saying gratitude. He is living joy, not just saying it for the sake of saying it. And I've known him for years, so it's always been something that I've been like, man, is he just doing this? But it's like, no, he's really, really authentic. We had such a heartfelt conversation. I think this is one where this is going to shift a lot of perspectives because you don't meet many people like Amadu. So I'm really excited for you to enjoy this. Whether you're watching or listening, I hope you enjoy, and thanks for tuning in. Also, wherever you're listening from, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So grateful. But if you could, jump over to Instagram, follow the podcast page, The Conscious Podcast. You'll see all the snippets. You also get to connect with me and the guest and share that content there and even take a snapshot of listening right now on whatever device or on your TV, on YouTube, whatever it may be. Take a photo, put it on your story, tag myself, tag the podcast. I would really appreciate it. Coming back into podcasting, I really want to share these valuable conversations with as many people as possible. And it's always nice to see people tuning in, but sharing it with others.
Amadu, it's great to have you and be here. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very grateful, Carlos. Welcome to my studio. Welcome home. That's something I like to say because you're an authentic person.
Yeah, and side note, we don't really want to give this away, but like you were like, I'm home. As I was getting here, and I'm like, what do you mean you're home? You said meet at the studio. And I was like, if you've gone home, I'm in the wrong spot. But no, it's really good to sit down and connect with you. We've worked together on collaborated on some incredible soccer initiatives in the past, and we met through a mutual friend. I think we met at his birthday a couple of times. Yeah. And then every time I've sat with you, we've had like these deep conversations. Never expected it, because I didn't know who you were. Yeah. But when we went on these camps, I was biting my tongue not to ask you questions because I knew one day I'm going to bring back the podcast and talk to you about it. So, man, I'm just grateful to have you here and to be talking to you about you and all the things that you do. So, yeah, thanks for having me. But can you tell, actually, before we even go into the super deep stuff, why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? That's a great question because I think, as we all know, why creates meaning. And for me, first and foremost, I do what I do because it gives me joy, something that comes within myself. So using my strengths to express myself. And then ultimately is to empower people. Empower that they've also got the tools and the resources within themselves to pursue whatever they're trying to achieve in life. So that's why I do it. It gives me joy. And the other one is empowerment, to empower others to become the best version of themselves or on the journey to becoming the best version of themselves.
Yeah. I love that.
No, thanks.
So I know when people say things like that, it's the cool, the on-trend, the social media thing to say, all the nice things. But one thing I admire about you is you live and breathe what you say. It's not just what you think people want to hear. So can you, because I've not asked you this for a reason, because I wanted to leave it to a point where I could record it, but can you give us an overview of your life and what's led you to be here as the person you are right now and doing what you do?
Going back to what you said, they say be the change you wish to see in the world. You don't need to change everyone. You need to change yourself. And then the ripples will lead to a different path. So what I mean by that first, I'm not going to tell you what to do unless I've embodied those qualities within myself first. Then I can tell you, hey, not trying to change you, but I'll give you the tools. You should go this way. You should go that way. So I've always looked at life from different stages, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, obviously psychologically. We are social creatures. So first and foremost, the way I live my life is based on putting my intentions into action. I cannot be happy if I don't put my intentions into action, because we all have the right intentions in life.
Yep.
But just when we put things into action, can we actually reap the benefits? And that is hard work. So for an example of that, I wake up every morning, whether it's 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. before training my clients. I do my 15 minutes walk, my meditation walk, just to regulate my body. Sleeping is a form of regulation. Then I get up in the physical presence of walking a lap around the oval. I come back, my water or my banana is there for me. So that's the first thing I do in the morning. Then I come back and I train my clients. Train my clients for 4 or 5 hours. In my afternoon breaks, I walk again. I read a book. I walk. I connect with others, social connections. I do that again. Then I have a break. Then I do that in the evening, training clients again. For 3 hours, around 7 p.m., I stop work for the day. I walk again, whether that's with a friend or just another human being I meet at the park, because I have an open heart. So I just try and connect with people, not seeking it. It just happens on the journey. So I'm open to life. And most people will say that's difficult, but it's only difficult because that's what we've perceived our mind to be. Because sometimes we think people are judging us, but the biggest criticism is within ourselves. We judge ourselves more than we probably think someone else is judging us. Yeah. But remember, in life, we have to explore the possibilities. Whatever you're trying to pursue in life, you have to explore the possibilities. Yeah. So that's my routine, if I was to tell you what I do on a daily basis.
Beautiful. I love that. And you've got so many stories that you've told me of people you've met on these walks and people you've helped. Is there one that comes to mind?
Oh my God.
Your favorite?
Today, mate. Today.
Like, you legit do this. This isn't just, Amadu's not just saying this. You legit do this.
Yeah, today was a touching experience for me. I almost shed tears. The tears didn't come out physical, but within, I got so emotional. I woke up at 5:30 today. I went on my 6:15 a.m. walk. I walked around the Citizen Park in Richmond. There's a guy sitting down having a ciggy. I looked at him and I smiled. He didn't give me no affection, no emotions at all. I walked past again. The second time, the third time, I said to him, "Good morning." And then he recognized my voice and he's like, "Oh, good morning." He's like, "What a beautiful morning looking at the sky." I'm like, "Yeah, how beautiful is it that these things are for free in life? We don't need to pay anything. We can stop and recognize that the most important things that give us joy." I said to him, he's like, "Yeah, you're so right." Then I said to him, "You know what, something else that's special, that's important, that's for free?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Us talking, social connections. You've recognized me, I've recognized you, and now we're connecting." I'm like, "Do you know how powerful that is?" He's like, "Yeah, that is so powerful." I'm like, "It is our common humanity that binds us." Desmond Tutu, may his soul rest in peace. That's an Archbishop's quote. I just thought I'd mention his name. May his soul rest in peace. It is our common humanity that bounds us. We are all going through struggles in life, but it's things that we can all relate to. Suffering is part of life. So the next moment of that conversation, he tells me what he's going through, Carlo. He says to me, "I'm at the Melbourne clinic. I'm going through rehab." That touched my heart. So I'll leave it there at the moment because there was more deep things that I cannot mention that he mentioned to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just comes from you having an open heart, an open mind to even just have that interaction. Because don't get me wrong, there's times where I have that and there's times where I don't. There's definitely days, like even now, like we live in an apartment now and I get in the elevator, there's days where I just look down or look at my phone and it's like I've got nothing to give and I don't want to connect, but there are days where I'm in there and I'm like, even if it's, I don't know anyone there, we've only been there a couple of months, and I'll go in and I'll just be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day?" And so yesterday, found out she was a teacher and she teaches little kids, and I'm like, "Oh, I coach little kids." And we just had this it was 1 minute in the elevator, but it was a really nice connection that I was like, I did. You don't need to get their phone number
Yes.
or social media or whatever. It was just like, oh, have a nice day. I might see them in the apartment elevator one day soon, or maybe not. But it was nice, and I think for a lot of people, especially after the pandemic and all of that, we closed off. How do you keep your heart open to just walk up to people and start that conversation?
There's a saying, people can only meet you where they've met themselves. I totally believe in that. And that comes back to healing ourselves, our wounds. It's very deep. It's a very deep thing that we have to recognize within ourselves and work on it. I know people talk a lot about trauma. Trauma is what happens is inside us, and Gabor Mate states a lot about it. Things that I'm big on as well. But we have to heal ourselves, mate. We have to go within. But we are social creatures. A lot of the times we try and heal ourselves from in a more toxic and negative way. There's so many different ways to heal ourselves. If I was to give an example of positive and negative, let's just say a friend is going through some depression moment. It's different for everyone. The context, depending on the context, alcohol is probably one of the first things that people lead to soothe the pain, because we are social creatures. We always think that's going to fix the problem. Alcohol, drug, and so many other things, so many other substances. But some of the different ways, positive ways to regulate ourselves, which is all part of healing, called therapy. Obviously something that you do. Physical exercise, meditation, reading a book, music. So there's so many different ways, and all these things are actually for free.
Yeah.
That's the thing, they cost nothing. But it requires us to become conscious and fully aware to have the courage, one of the highest virtues, to turn our intentions into action, because we all want to do the right thing. So that's something I give people compassion about. We all want to do the right thing, but sometimes we just don't know where to start because we're getting bombarded with information. What's right? What's wrong? The brain becomes clouded. So we always seek what? The easy option out. Because the hardest option is the most fulfilling way. It's hard work to work on yourself, to be vulnerable with yourself. It is hard work, mate. But that's where you find your true calling. Yeah.
And how do you see that? Like, because we're in your studio right now, like beautiful gym that you've got in this space. How do you foster that in this space, for example, in your day to day?
Something I call inquiry, or something that means it basically means looking outside yourself, looking to someone else's lives. I'll give you an example. Some of my clients forgive me about this. So because I'm so curious about learning, I learn through books. I learn through obviously listening to podcasts. I learn through looking at people's lives. I'm so conscious about everything. But the number one form of learning is conversation with someone else. Look at them in the eye. And the way you can understand or perceive what someone is going through, there's 3 different ways. It's through vocalization, the way they talk. Facial expressivity tells us a lot about someone else. And touch. Stephen Porges. This is, I like to quote people based on some of the research that I find. Not just the research, but I see some of the signals myself, So the most important thing within all this, how do we foster some of these things, is you have to make people feel safe. Yeah. Safety is the presence of connection. Carlo, when people are safe, they will become vulnerable. They'll be open to you. Safety is the presence of connection. Most people don't even know what safety actually means. It's the most important thing when it comes to one of our nature. We have to be safe. To go back to find harmony, we have to be safe. So a lot of my clients, I've created that space because they see that in my life. They can feel my energy that, I'm connected with myself. So I've regulated my emotions. Don't get me wrong, I'm going through challenges as well. So I talk to them as well. I express my vulnerabilities. Like I said again, it is our common humanity that binds us. Yeah. I have struggles. So we help each other in that process. Yeah. So that's the space I've created here, mate.
Yeah, I love that. And do you feel like there's ever that, because there might be some people listening that are coaches, personal trainers, whatever it may be. Do you ever find that there's somewhat of a resistance to share because you're like, well, if I share, then that shows that not a weakness, yes, vulnerability, but because you're in a role that's like, I'm mentoring them, I need to hold back in some way? Or have you just always been so open with it?
Personally, I've always been open with it.
Yeah.
If people judge me, they judge me because of where they are in their lives.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, we all have those moments where we judge, you know, because all these thoughts and emotions, we all have them. Just, no, because we're only human, mate. You know, but one thing I've always said to coaches or anyone trying to help others, you have to heal yourself or resolve your own issues or traumas that you're going through.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be 100%, but you can meet someone halfway.
Yeah.
You can meet people halfway and communicate the truth. Because remember, they're human too. They're going through challenges. You're probably going through challenges, the coach or the mentor yourself. But for you to definitely come out with the truth, you have to be working on yourself as well, because that's something I see too many times. I've seen a lot of coaches, you know, just saying a lot of things without actually, you know, working on themselves or trying to improve themselves. They're just giving a message, you know. But I think people need to find out what's the why. Why do they do what they do? Is it to make money? Is it for views? Is it to empower the human soul? Or to manipulate? There's two ways you can influence human behavior. You can either manipulate people or empower people. You know, two ways. Yeah. So I look to empower people, not manipulate people. It doesn't make me happy because I have integrity. I have values within that.
Yeah.
I get sad when I'm taking advantage of people. You know, so these are some of the values that I live with. Yeah.
Yeah. And it I think even for myself, I've had the realization, like even recently coming back with the podcast and my program and all of that. And I was thinking, like, you know, in an ideal world, I'd do all my stuff for free. Like, you know, I would, all my programs and all that, those things. But I'm also like, I've got a family to feed, I've got rent to pay and all this. And it's not, you know, because I felt guilty because I was like, I'm charging this amount. It was only I felt guilty because other people would tell me, no, you've got to be charging 3 times that. And it wasn't in alignment to what felt right to me. Everything that I do now feels in alignment to me. Other people might say, oh, you're charging too less. You're not valuing yourself. And it's like, no, like there's an energy exchange of the money and the service, but that feels good to me. I'm not here to manipulate. And this whole notion, man, I've been thinking about this so much of like, I like whatever someone's set point of what they want to make is totally up to them and their circumstance and whatever. But we were talking before about what do we actually need? And that's where I'm like, what do I actually need? What if I created it, you know, earning this amount, not what someone else is telling me I need to make in order for that to be success?
Mate, jackpot. 2 things I'll take from your conversation: energy transfer and needs. I'll start with energy transfer. I have about 6 clients who have been with me for 4 to 5 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And just like that, like you mentioned, a lot of people would say, charge this. But they forget the highest human act is to empower and inspire each other.
Yeah.
And my clients don't just contribute to my well-being or my business through financial means.
Yeah.
Social relationships. We need each other.
Yeah.
So I value those things. It goes back to what do you value as a human being? Yes. The money, going back to needs, the money is a need, okay, to meet my basic human needs.
Yeah.
Not psychological needs, like to pay for my house, pay for my house rent, to pay for my outgoings, to pay for, yes, food and stuff, and a lot of other things. But the most important thing is the energy. That's where I look at that, the energy transfer.
Yeah.
For me, that's the most powerful thing. That's why I'd also do what I do. And going back to needs and wants, we have in nature we have needs. We have psychological needs, social connection, where we offer ourselves to others. We have obviously connections where we separate ourselves and give our hearts to people who are in a vulnerable position, and also we have needs whereby we don't just have to think about people, but we also have to think about other things that are a bit further away from us. So I've sort of lost track here, mate. But it was all in my head. These things happen. It was all in my head, but I just got out of context.
No, I love it. Yeah. And have you always been like this? Like, growing up, like, where were you from? Like, take us back there. Like, where were you from? Who empowered you or embodied these values in you to live like this?
I would have to say my parents, my social belonging. There's a saying in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child. You don't do it alone. And I think probably in the Western concept, this is something that they probably don't understand as much. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. Someone else will pull me up if I'm doing something wrong. Someone else will advise me if I'm doing something wrong. It's not totally your parents' responsibility to give you all the answers. People of the village contribute to your well-being. So that's how I grew up. My parents were at the hierarchy of that, but then also people of the village, because we all have similar values. Not to change me, but give me the tools. And as you get older, you become wiser to make decisions yourself. You know, going back to Gabor Mate, says this amazing quote: "We may not be responsible for the world that created our minds, but we can take responsibility for the mind with which we create our world." When you're young, obviously, you don't have a lot of experience to make a lot of decisions. Your parents are at the hierarchy of looking after your well-being. When you get into adolescence, you become more aware to take a bit more responsibility. And when you become an adult, you're more conscious to take more responsibility and choose the information that you want in the world. You know, so I would have to say my parents embedded that within me, and also growing up with 4 sisters embedded these values in me. Learning how to be compassionate, patience, because they challenge you. You know, so my environment nurtured me in this way, and also I was given my needs of love, belonging, connection, safety, all these basic human needs, which define our nature. Our needs define our nature. You know, I think that's something that people should understand. You know, when your needs are not met, when you don't have love, you grow up in a house that is traumatic. You grow up in a life that is abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Mate, changes your psychology moving forward in your life. Yeah, so it's deeper than we think.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky enough to have all my needs to have met. And my needs continue to be met. There's challenges in there, but I've created that circle of positive people in my life that contribute to my emotional and mental well-being. Yeah.
I love that. And how do you think that you've been able to do that? Like, you know, we go through life, we go through many different, you know, seasons of life and changing jobs, and you started a business, which comes with a lot of challenges in itself. How do you continue to keep fostering that group? Is it a matter of having your values as your set point, or is it just meeting people with that open heart and compassion?
I think it's a bit of both. I'll go back to what gives me joy. I will not, how can I say it? I will not, what's the word? I will not sacrifice my joy for anything. I will not sacrifice my joy for anything. So I will always put things that give me joy ahead of anything else. You know, if walking, talking to people give me joy, you know, I will always go to that point where I feel at peace, because challenges are part of life.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably the thing. You know, that I'll always go back to when I'm at a stage of a bit of stress, a bit of disappointment. I'll always lead back to things that give me joy. And that's been with my family, exercise, reading a book, meditation, so many things, obviously. But these are things I've cultivated over time. And now they just, when I'm going through moments of disappointment, I just lead back to it very quickly. I don't even ponder too much. I just lead back to my peaceful state. You would say a lot of people's peaceful state is probably doing things that are probably not so right for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see that in everything that you do and you have shared with me in the past. But it just sounds really simple.
Yeah.
I think that's what's hard for people to grasp.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it with myself recently in my challenges, and I shared this on the previous episode of the podcast, like when I wasn't living in my values, and obviously one big one for you is joy. When I wasn't living in those values, of course I was feeling lost. Of course I was not feeling fulfilled in myself, because I was living in other people's values or what I thought I needed to do. So as soon as I've come back to that, even now, Like amongst all the crazy stuff that's happened in my life and still happening, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I've completed it. I've gone to level, past Mario. No, there's another level, new challenges.
Yeah.
And I'm also in a really peaceful state because I've remembered those values.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me, well, now I kind of think that you get these moments where the challenges that it could take a month, it could take years they take you off the path or off your values. And then you realize, because maybe something happens in your life or multiple things that aren't good. And then you go, shit, I need to come back to my values. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going down that path. And I think that's what you were saying before, that choice.
Yes.
Right? My choice now was I've been going down that path consciously or unconsciously. I've been choosing that. And even times where I've been like, I know this is happening. But it was like, no one's going to do it for me.
Yep.
I have to be the one that goes, no, this is where I want to be.
Exactly.
And it took, like you said, that inquiry. Like it took self-inquiry to get back there. And that was hard.
Yeah, that's hard. It's not easy. Trying to find ourselves is not easy. And going back to what you just said, choice. Viktor Frankl mentions it in his book about freedom. Man's search for meaning. Yeah. Ultimately everything can be taken away from man. But one thing that cannot be taken is our attitude and how we respond.
Yeah.
Just goes back to telling you, strip away all your external needs. What you have is your state of mind and the choices you make. But we are social creatures, so we are going to be challenged and we are going to be manipulated. So it's the decisions we make when we're going through challenges or how we regulate ourselves. Personally, I think that defines us. But remember, we can't do it alone. Sometimes we can do it alone. But we are social creatures. We're interconnected. We need to stop putting a wall there. But that takes work itself. And I'm going to go into other topic. Philosophy is an important thing for people to understand as well, because a lot of today's work and today's things that people talk about comes back to philosophy. Plato talks about this in his book, Plato's Republic. He talks about the cave. There's prisoners in the cave. Allegory in the cave. There's prisoners in the cave. They've grown up in darkness. That's all they know. Behind them, they've got men putting lights with shadows of what people fear or things they see in the world. And guess what? They release one of them. They're all in chains. They release one of them, goes out into the light and sees the world differently, from darkness to light. Comes back and tells the others, I just came from heaven, basically, up in the world. He tells the others, they're like, nah, what are you talking about? That's not truth. You're ignorance. This is not true, what you just said. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to get outside darkness. And it takes courage. People prefer to be in darkness. People are scared of the light. Because the light has truth. And it takes work. So people should look into the book, Plato's Republic. It talks about Allegory in the Cave, one of the greatest books ever written. Yeah. It talks about manipulation of the society. We see the world through images. Before we get to understand it, we see things through images, which manipulate our minds. Yeah, I thought I'll share that.
Yeah, I love that because you can always relate those things from philosophy back to what's happening in this current state. Like, if you take, for example, pandemic, or even kids, take away that again. I have my own child. It's a beautiful, challenging journey of fatherhood, but everything that I give to him or show him or tell him is going to create the world that he lives in. So it's been, I've done 10 years of personal development, and I don't look back at my parents and say, oh, they did wrong or they did this or that. They did what they did with the best they had, right? And I can see where that come from because I've got to spend time with my grandparents and see, on my dad's side, my grandparents came from a village in Italy. They didn't know any different because every society lives differently. They brought those values into here. If it wasn't the same, it was different and wrong. I'm the one that's broken all the molds of everything, right? And moved out of home at 16, playing soccer, blah, 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 blah. And it's with my son, like people say, they go, oh, are you going to let him play soccer? Is he going to be an entrepreneur? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever he wants to do. Like, I'm going to encourage him to be part of a team sport because I know the benefits of it. But if he doesn't want to, then mate, it's not my... What's my place to say, do this, do that? I want to be a great role model and a safe father figure, which may have to challenge him at times. But also, you know, we've made a conscious decision. Okay, we're not going to let him watch TV, right? We're going to put things there that are going to educate and learn. And
Boundaries.
there might be times where we have to give him something. But we talk to other parents, right? And even my friends that have got kids, and they're like, oh, don't do that because that'll do that. And it's like, that's your perspective, and I get it. But also, and they you know, do a lot of research online. They're like, oh, but this TikTok said this and this said this. And I'm like, that's what you're doing there is what we're doing in our own brain when it comes to news and social media and all these things. And when people ask me, they go, oh, did you hear about this? I was just talking with some friends before. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, oh, but you're not up to date on things. And I'm like, that's got no relevance to how I live my life. How do you navigate that in such a bombarded, you're on a bombarded street, let alone life?
Mate, what you just said, I think that I inquire into a lot. I'll go back to the kid about your young one. They say, and most people don't know this, kids don't manifest what you say. They manifest what you do. Gordon Neufeld. It's a book called Hold On to Your Kids. I'm very passionate about child development to prevent things happening in the future.
Yeah.
Kids manifest what you do as a parent. And, I love what you said about giving your child the tool to select once they become more aware, once they hit adolescence, to choose whatever path they want. Sport, the way I look at it, is to build character. Resilience, courage, love, compassion, hope. So all these characteristics that we need as human beings. Sport will help you there, and that will translate to different parts of your life. For me, that's what sport is about. Done. Social relationships, individual regulation, co-regulation. Someone's down, you lift them up. Character. And that leads into life. What they learn from sport, they come home, they'll check up on mommy, they'll check up on daddy. That's what sport is about to me. Yeah. It's not about getting my child to become a famous soccer player. Yes, it feels good, looks good, limelight, But sometimes as parents, we say that because we didn't achieve those goals that we wanted. So we imprint what we didn't do or what we didn't become into our kids, whereby they have needs that has to be met first: safety, love, connection, and exploring themselves. Let them go and explore life itself. As long as you keep them safe, you keep them guided, and you give them the tools. Yeah. So going back to that, I commend you for having that perspective, because that's the way I see it myself. Yeah. And in the world that we're so bombarded by things, going back to what we said before, needs and wants. It's the same thing with information. I personally know what information is good for me. You know how I know? Education. You educate yourself. Yeah. You educate yourself, but there's different types of education. Like I said again, education that manipulates the mind, and education that empowers you. Something that empowers you comes from the heart. You feel it. You just feel it. You listen to your gut. You listen to these things, because it's easy to be manipulated, especially when we're trying to find ourselves in the world and we're getting bombarded by TikTok, Instagram, and all these things. And I can see these ripples, why so many people are disconnected from themselves. It's crazy. No wonder they want to get rid of TikTok. There's amazing things on TikTok. I've only posted 4 things ever, and I watch it now and then. Probably I've only watched TikTok probably for about 30 minutes this whole year. There's nothing wrong with all these social media platforms, but it's who you follow or where you get your information, because there's also good people out there doing good work. Yeah. So I commend and I give people compassion, trying to put the ripples of kindness into the basket. But there's a lot more toxicity out there. I'm not sure what you think about this. Then positive, from what I've seen, because it requires every single individual that shares something on social media to look within themselves to see why am I doing what I do? Is it for money? Is it for likes? Is it for fame? Or is it genuinely to not to manipulate the human mind, but to empower the human mind, so you can be part of that channel of creating the change you wish to see in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got that choice.
Yes, we have that choice.
I think a lot of people forget that we have that choice, and
Yes.
they go, "No, I need it's marketing, it's this and that." And this is where I've had so much. I think this is why we have connected so well. It's like we have that genuine, heartfelt intention of just wanting to do good, and I've been strayed from that so many times, and that's me also then leaning into that. But it's always just drawn me back to, like, for example, when we did our camp for One Ball, something that you're a part of in a big way.
Yep.
And shout out to Kamal. He's apparently going to walk through in a moment. But, we did a camp, and, these kids that... It's probably better you explain it, because I'm not too sure on all the technical terms. But we went on a camp to take these kids away that have probably never been on a camp before. You talked about the character strengths. It's something huge that's in One Ball. We got those the balls with all the affirmations on it, and it's like even us being there, we're choosing how we want to empower these kids and what we show them and how we show up. And I remember there was one point. Do you remember when the kids stole the biscuits?
Oh, no, I don't
Oh,
remember.
it was the first one I came on.
Yeah.
The first one at that place, and one of the kids stole all the biscuits and put it in his bag.
Yeah.
And then we were like, all right, we're not going to bed or not playing PlayStation or whatever until we bring them back. And it allowed them to communicate, and they ended up bringing it back, but they didn't point out the person. And it was like, I remember Kamal like giving the lesson, and I was like, this is really powerful. I never got this at a soccer training camp, the character strengths and those lessons. Yeah. But it's so nice to see that, we take these kids away, and yes, they have their phones and stuff, but we're giving them an experience that in the world today, they're probably not really going to get.
Yep. Absolutely.
Nature. We had a fire going.
Yep.
The walk. Oh my God. Well, the run that you did up the mountain. Yeah.
The ice bath.
Yeah. It's just these little things that, like, that's a choice that obviously Kamal made, you've made, myself in that as well, where we get to share from our experiences. And it's like, everyone has that choice.
Yes.
Whether you're a school teacher right now or you coach a soccer team, you have a choice to empower them. Yeah, you're getting paid from it too.
Yes.
But there's two sides of it. You can work the job and just show up and not give a shit, basically. Or you can come in with, I'm going to empower whoever I touch to, in the aspect of being in the classroom and your words, to empower them in their life. And I remember this last year, I ran the bar at my sister's restaurant. And I was like, this isn't me and my purpose. Like, you'd think, like, that's not Carlo. Like, Carlo's normally doing this and coaching and mentoring and events. But one, it was a job, right? I needed a job at that time. Two, it was helping my family. So that was great. I was getting paid from it, but still they needed someone, and I stepped in. Thirdly was that, yes, I'm not running a meditation. I'm supplying them with alcohol, which is probably something I didn't, align with, but it was like, this is my job. But it doesn't mean, I knew in that moment, or in those moments of working that job, that I could say something to them that could make their day. Yeah. Not, don't drink, it's not good for you. That's not, they make their own choices in life.
Absolutely.
But if I gave them a compliment and also maybe said, how's your day today? Yeah. Or I remember I was asking people, what are you grateful for? And they'd be so like just caught off guard because they're like, I'm ordering a beer. Like, why do I want to think of this?
Oh my God, Carlo. I just love what you just said.
Yeah.
Do you know on my door, I've got grateful hours?
Oh, wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Grateful hours, not open hours. And people been asking me why. And I said to them, words have meaning. Words are what you make of it. Grateful hours. So that's, for me, that means, in my perception, it means open hours. A welcome, I invite you to gratefully come into my home. And then going back to what you said, living compliment affirmations to people. One thing that I say to people all the time, I've probably been saying it for the last 5 years, when someone says to me, how are you? I said to them, I'm grateful. And like you said, they get shocked or they freeze. It's like, That's different. Because that probably sends a ripple down their body. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So that's something I consistently said. I change affirmations all the time. I'm wonderful. Yeah. I'm joyful. When someone says to me how I am, remember, words are powerful. Yeah. We can say whatever we want. But I'm also saying that because that's how I felt in the moment. Yeah. I'm not just saying it because to make myself feel good or just to make that person feel good. Comes from within. That's how I felt. Mm-hmm. That's how I always feel. If I'm feeling sad and not happy, I'm okay. So I use words as manifestations of how I feel internally. Yeah. Words are powerful. The words we tell ourselves can manifest into our reality. Most people probably don't even know that. It requires inquiry to do it consistently and see how much it changes your state and it changes someone else. That requires conscious awareness.
Yeah.
That's hard work as well. You know, we are so deeply connected to each other. People probably don't know. And I get emotional when I talk about these things sometimes because I know the power of being human.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, but we've created a capitalist society where, you know, we just want to take. You know, like in going back to philosophy, you have three different types of friends, as they say. And Aristotle said that. Arthur Brooks talks about it. People probably know him more in the modern generation. Aristotle of the ancient Greek talks about 3 different types of friends. Friends of pleasure, that's okay. Friends of business, that's okay. You give and take. And friends of virtue, it's a big word, but it's like character. Friends of character. Someone that's going to empower, someone that's going to inspire you. Someone that you can also have a bit of fun and pleasure with. They're friends that are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Because they always tell you the truth. But most people are scared of the truth, so they navigate to 24/7, friends of pleasure and friends of business. So I would say to a lot of people, look for friends of character. It's hard to find because that requires us to go within ourselves, to be authentic, do not follow the crowd. Yeah.
And it's just there's so many points on there to touch on, but like the one that comes to mind here is the how you said like your words are power and your words are affirming your world. You're creating your world with your words. The other side is that a lot of people are so automatic to just be like, not bad. How you doing? Not bad. Oh, how's work and whatever? Oh, it's not too bad. Like, could be better and all of that. Like it's almost programmed in that's sort of the general response to things. And even like I've noticed myself when I say good morning, I'm like, if I really read into that, it's good morning. Why am I saying good morning? Why are you mourning?
Yes.
Grand rising. I'm starting to change it. Like people have said it to me and I go, that sounds weird. Even I've said that and I've been like, that's weird, but it's only weird because I've never heard it often. But now I'm starting to say, okay, grand rising instead of good morning. Like the little things where you can shift that. And I've noticed in myself when someone says, how are you? I'm like, don't just automatically respond with what everyone's normally says.
Yep.
How are you actually feeling? And I love that you say grateful because that's something that if people asking now, I'm like, I'm feeling peaceful.
Yeah, good.
And it's weird for people because they're like, okay, what's this guy on? What have you been doing that makes you like that? And it's like, but I actually am because I've done that inquiry in myself. And
absolutely.
It's like, maybe it's waking up with a grateful heart. Every morning I try and, whether I'm in the shower or whatever, I have a deep gratitude practice, but even just 3 things, whether I'm driving or whatever, is like a person, an object, and a situation. Can I be grateful for it?
Absolutely. And it's also important to recognize that all our emotions are valid.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling a bit sad in that moment, I don't need to tell someone my whole story. I can just say I'm okay or I'm not feeling too well today.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an invite for them to have conversation if they think they can offer that.
Yeah.
But just stating that as well is a form of regulating yourself. You've let it out. That's how you feel in that moment. All emotions are valid. There's no such thing as a bad emotion.
Yeah.
But it's how we regulate those emotions. They can become acute or chronic. Yeah. We obviously don't want things to become chronic over time. So listen to your mind and listen to your body and work on yourself. In every given moment of my life. It's hard work. I'm going to be honest. It's not easy, but you will thank yourself long term. The body keeps a score.
Yeah.
Vessel Vandercourt. I just thought that would reference
Yeah.
where that's from as well. Yeah.
No, I love that. And what would you say is, you wake up, what comes to your mind? What do you wake up, the things that you do, obviously you've got an early wake up. You said you start work at what, 5:30?
Yeah, 5:15,
5:15, you got
depending on the
clients.
client, 6 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also, it's a business, it's a job, but it's also, I feel it's, one of your passions as well. To do that throughout the week, what's your attitude when you wake up?
Joy. Wow. Joy. Yes, I'm getting paid for it, but I look forward to talking to my clients
Yeah.
about, not just about their week, but some of the deep-rooted things they're going through. Mate, it's like a podcast with my clients.
Yeah.
You would have to interview them.
Just put the mics on next time. And
It's like a podcast, mate. I'm sure it's like that with a lot of people. And people ask me, always tell me, don't you get overwhelmed? Nah, I love it. I love when people tell me deep things they're going through. I'm talking about some of the deepest of things, mate. And I'll tell you something pretty personal. I've seen a lot of people in the past. Upon meeting me, I don't really sit people down when I do consults. I go for a walk with them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a marketing pitch. It's just something that I do. Because people feel more comfortable instead of just facing them like it's an interview.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable, let's go for a walk, mate. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people that have been in tears from the first consult, men or women. Yeah, just having an open conversation. They've expressed their vulnerability to me. Yeah. So, mate, I have to say I look forward to always waking up because it's something that gives me joy. I don't even know how to explain it. It's something you have to feel within.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you have to feel. You feel within. And as we know, emotions come from the heart. There's two things here. Emotions come from the heart, and then other things come from the mind. Yeah.
I don't want to say the word smart. It is smart.
Yeah.
But it's very welcoming when you go for a walk with someone. Like I went for a walk with my friend, walk and coffee. It allows you, one, you're doing exercise. So you're feeling good, you're moving and you're outside. So there's, a lot of good things happening, but it's that thing of, especially men connect better side by side. That's why they created bars, but obviously there's alcohol and stuff. And if you're going for a walk, I think it brings down that barrier as well.
Absolutely.
I love this because I'm looking right at you, and we're present. Even though there's noise going on everywhere, we're here. This is a different setting. But if you're meeting someone for the first time, it could be very confronting and intimidating. Yes. So, going for a walk, what a cool thing to do. I have an intro call before my program, to see if they're the right fit for it, and I'm the right fit for them. And I say to people quite openly, it's almost 100% of the time when I get on the phone with them, they're like, oh, I thought this was going to be so strategic and all the marketing. And I'm like, no, I ask you 3 questions. And then from that, it's going to see whether you're right for the program or not. But I also just want to connect with you, because if we can't connect,
mate,
then what am I just sell it? It's not a thing that I sell online and you just go do by yourself.
Mate, jackpot. You just said it. Things that I'm big on. And that goes back to my logo. As you can see, connect, inspire, transform. I have to connect with people. Yes, we're all at a point we're all selling something.
Yeah.
But we have to sell our authentic selves. Yeah. This is the difference. I sell myself based on my strengths. Yeah. I connect with people. And then you inspire people once they've connected with you. You inspire them, and guess what? They also inspire you. Yeah. Inspiration is a transferable feed when you're open to that. Because we all have ego. But it's healthy ego that can be transferable.
Yeah.
Or you think it's all about you. You're the trainer. You're the hierarchy of things. No. And then transform the highest state of consciousness. That's what my 3 steps are for. So for me, it's all about connecting with an individual. Even if they're going to pay me a lot of money. So these are some of the things I live by. I've had a lot of people ask me to go train them in their personal home, offer me a lot of money to get rid of two or three clients that are in that spot. Yeah. No, we haven't connected.
Yeah.
I know you mean well, but there's not been a connection. So I separate myself from that. We have a choice again, depending how we look at the world, to choose our attitude and how we respond to things. Yeah. So I love what you just said before, mate.
Yeah. And if you had, let's say you had one chance to put one post on social media or whatever it may be, and that was your last message to everyone, because then that's it, no one else could post on social media, what would be your last message to this world and your community?
Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And it doesn't have to be everything. Other people are doing their bit. You can bring joy into the world just by smiling. Sometimes your smile is a sense of your joy. Sometimes your joy is a source of your smile. Tiknik Han, may his soul rest in peace. Just one thing. That's all you need to contribute. Everyone else there's 8 billion people in the world. Everyone else is doing their bit. You just do your bit, because guess what? It will transcend. It will transcend your bit. Someone else will take. No, move on. Someone else will take another bit. So you meet people in your life for different reasons. Just take out one thing, even if it's one thing. And a lot of things that you should take out are intrinsic things that are within us, not the extrinsic things.
I said this to my friends just before. A lot of people talk, and a lot of people say a lot of things that are nice things to say,
Yes.
and it's the quote-unquote thing to say. But like gratitude, right? A lot of people say, yeah, be grateful, and I'm grateful. But you are living and breathing gratitude. You are living and breathing being compassionate, having an open heart. And this is one of the big reasons I wanted to share this conversation with you, is because of that. And I think that there's a lot of inspiration that people can get from hearing that and seeing your way of life. And I know it's hard with a podcast, like you listen or watch, and you don't get to sit here with you, or maybe you will. Maybe I'll bring Amadu to one of my events. It's these examples that people can look at and go, wow, like there's something I can take from that. And maybe, like you said, like, going on a walk, maybe they'll just smile at someone when they'd normally just look at the ground.
Yeah.
You never know where that can lead. So thank you for being you, and thank you for doing what you do, because that inspired me in a connection where I never thought it would lead to this sort of point or be that whole version of you. It's been really nice to know you, get to know you, work together, inspire children together. That's really powerful. But to have this conversation, and I know so many people will be inspired by it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely grateful.
Yeah,
thank you, Carlo.
I love it. So if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure like, subscribe, all those things, but go over to Instagram. All the links will be in the show notes. I think the biggest thing here that I know both of us would enjoy is if you got some value from this, reach out to Amadu, reach out to myself, share this on your story, but even just a private DM saying, hey, thank you, I related to this, or I loved your aspect on this. These are conversations that go out to however many people, right? That's not the intention. It's if you're listening and you've gotten this far and you got something from it, it's really nice if you reach out. I know it's something I've been doing now as well, with even podcasts of people that they might not even see the message, but just reaching out and saying, hey, that's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We'd both appreciate it, but we love connecting with people. So that would be really nice. And until next time, take care, everyone. Peace.